What's up, Joe? I'm Rush, the former 185-pound champion that choked me out unconscious. Son of a gun. Hey, you have a big announcement to make. You are returning to the competitive world of martial arts, correct?
Yeah, not in mixed martial art though. Not in for the UFC in terms of as a contender for trying to get back the title in mixed martial art. I'm going back into grappling in the like submission wrestling, jiu-jitsu circuit.
Yeah, amazing. And that's going to be the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, right?
That's right. They changed the date today. It will be December 9. And I got some name now that came out, and apparently most of the fans, the UFC, they really want, they would like me to grapple against Nick Diaz. That's the name that comes back the more often.
Oh, Nick Diaz, that's amazing. You know, because I saw a lot of names online, and there was I don't know where I saw this, but I'm sure I saw this yesterday. There was a rumor that it was going to be Khabib. Was there any truth to that?
No, I think it was just the fans that were excited about it because the fight never happened. But no, I mean, I think he's retired, Khabib, and yeah, the name that the number one choice for UFC was Nick Diaz, because you know the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, they know that I'm no longer competing to try to be the best. You know, grappling. It's a very specialized sport. You know what we do, Michael? It's mixed martial art. It's more. It's more complete. There is less rules. You know, grappling is a more specialized sport. It doesn't mean if you're a great mixed martial art fighter that you will be a good grappler, and vice versa. You know, so it's something that it's new for me. I've competed before in the ADCC a long time ago, but this is truly something different. That it's a different form of competition, different form of combat sports. So I will need the time to adapt. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So how did this come about? I mean, obviously, you know, anyone that follows you on social media, you're always in shape, you're always training, you treat your body like an athlete still. So did you miss that kind of competitive feeling?
I miss the adrenaline of competition, but I would not go back in mixed martial art. You know, the risks are too big. You know, like, and I have no illusion. I'm 42 years old. I'm past my physical prime. However, I still like the adrenaline of competition, and I think the best way to do it is in grappling. The risks are to a minimum in a way that, you know, if something happens, you just stop. and, and there's no brain damage because there's no strike. So I'm a very competitive person. I'm taking this very seriously, but it's a fun competition. It's more fun. It's not as stressful as it was when I was fighting. And you know, when I was fighting, I wanted to be the strongest man in the world. That was my thing, my number one priority. Now I have other more important priority. This is more for fun, for the kick of it, and for the fans. And when the UFC told me they wanted to get into grappling, I wanted to help the platform UFC Fight Pass Invitational to grow, and I wanted to be part of it. I'm more there to serve the audience as a guy who will fight a novelty fight than a guy who will take that seriously and trying to compete to get to a world title. You know, I have no illusion. You know what I mean? I'm 42 years old. I'm doing this to make something excited for the audience, for the fans.
So Nick Diaz, I mean, I think everyone's going to love that. I mean, who doesn't want to see that, right? Everyone wants to see that. And I think for Nick as well, because, you know, he's not a young guy these days either. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Have you had, you know, is that happening? Have you had word from Nick Diaz's side?
I don't know. The UFC, with my agent talked to the UFC today. This is real fresh news.
Breaking news.
He told me that Nick was interesting, apparently. But Nick is still under contract with the UFC. So he still have another fight, apparently, in his contract. So, they would like him to participate into the grappling event to make it big. You know, it's going to be hosted in a bigger place than usual. So it's going to be, I'm going to be competing. There will be other big name in the grappling world, like Gordon Ryan, probably Giancarlo, and some other guys. So it's never been a better time to be a jiu-jitsu fans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's not going to be at the Apex. They're going to do it somewhere bigger.
I think that's what it was discussed with my agent. Yeah. Now I'm giving you some news that like it's fresh. You know, you're the first to get it. The date is changed. It has changed to December 9. It's a Saturday, and it will be hosted in a bigger venue. So there will be an audience to watch the show, and that's what I wanted in the beginning, because I don't only want it to be a thing that you can buy on a platform. I think it's important to have an audience, to create some kind of an atmosphere. You know, like you fight in front of a crowd is different than when you grapple one-on-one in a gym, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw you there at the Apex last week, and you were talking with some of the guys, and you were doing a little bit of promo for the event. And as we were talking, one of the promoters or organizers was there, and you guys are trying to get me to do it.
Yeah, you know, I think, Michael, you should do it. You're still in good shape. Why don't you come train with us in Austin, Texas? We should train together, and maybe you'll be on the card with me competing December 9. Maybe you could take on Anderson Silva, or, you know, I would love to see it, and I think it would be a formidable opponent for you. I think it will be a great matchup that the fans will be pleased to watch, you know?
Brother, so hold on. So you're saying that you will, because it would be my honor, it would be my absolute pleasure of a lifetime. So you're saying that if I accept a grappling match, I can come and train with you guys?
100%. I will be happy to train with you. The guys will be happy, and I'm sure you will love the gym. My training partners, they're all very nice, you know? We train hard, but we're not malicious. You know, it's fun. It's like a brotherhood, and I think it's the best place in the world for you to get ready. If you go up against, maybe I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out the name like Anderson Silva, or you know, someone like this.
I'll do it. 100%. If we do December, I mean, I'm super busy with UFC stuff and a bunch of other stuff I've got going on, but December might work, because I know initially you were going to do September, right, or something like that. Yeah, I didn't have time for that, but December I think I could fit that into my diary.
Michael, that would be perfect. It's right before Christmas, and you know, all these holidays time that where we can, you know, have a good time. So it's right before it. So why don't you come compete with me on the same card, and we train together, and after we celebrate the holidays, and we're in vacation.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've got one condition. I will say yes right now. I will commit one condition that afterwards we go out and we do what we did in Manchester.
we can't
don't know.
We can't talk about what happened in Manchester. What happened in Manchester stayed in Manchester.
So we went out there. We had some drinks.
But we're gonna do it in Vegas for sure.
I'm in 100%. I look forward to it. So I'll reach out to the UFC and see what happens. While I've got you, George, I've got a few things for you. I went on Twitter and I asked people if they've got any questions for you. So I'll ask you those in a second. But what are you doing with yourself these days outside of Grafton and coming back? Obviously, very much looking forward to that.
Outside of the training, I'm very busy. I'm more of an entrepreneur. I'm very lucky, Michael. I'm doing very well. I don't need to compete in terms of money. I don't need to ever work again. I just work because I like to keep myself busy, to challenge myself with different things. I have a food supplement company, Warrior, that I sell animal organs, beef organs. It's doing very well. It's called Warrior. I have a home fitness company called Base Block Pro. It's fitness equipment that we start. It exploded during COVID, because people were locked up. So the product sells very well. I have a vodka that just came out, Percent. I have a betting online company, the Bet99. I'm pretty busy. I have movies. I have a bunch of stuff going on. So I'm a busy man.
Life is good for George St. Pierre, and well done. Congrats and all that, by the way. What would you say? Because, George, you've always been a professional, right? You've always looked after yourself. You've always conducted yourself like a true professional. There's a lot of fighters out there, and as you know, and I know, the life of a fighter, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? And sadly, and this is just the way the world is, and it's like in any profession, really, only a small fraction of people make it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Only the cream of the crop gets to make a living as a professional fighter. But then after you retire and you walk away, that can be a hard time. For me, I was always very worried about that. I was always concerned. I was trying to start businesses and things like that and get into the entertainment world, acting and all these kinds of things. But if someone was to ask you for advice, that was a fighter that was maybe thinking about retirement, what's some advice that you could give to them?
Well, there's a few fighters actually that reach out to me. I can't say their name because it would be nice, but there's a few very known fighter that reach out to me, talk to me about this. It's a question that came back to me very often, and I'm no different. In the beginning, I felt my life was a little bit empty. I was glad to retire because I had too much stress. And I was glad when I retired. But after a few weeks, I was like, man, what am I gonna do? I prepared my retirement, but I felt like something was missing. So what I say to the fighters that retire, I think they need to find themselves another challenge. They need to be hungry for something else. Because if you're satisfied in life, we're all fighters, we're all crazy competitors. If you're satisfied and you sit down, you're gonna get bored, and that's when I think personally your health will suffer and everything because your brain doesn't work. You need to stimulate your brain, your physique, stay in shape, keep training. Because you carry your name. For example, you're Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping is fit, he's strong, he's tall, he's big, he's not fat, he's not out of shape. He's you know what I mean? I think it's important you carry your brain for the rest of your life. So once physically you do that, you need to find yourself something that you will enjoy. It could be fitness equipment, could be acting. I've seen you in many movies, and you were doing great. I really love the way you were playing in all these different movies. I think you're very talented. There's different options for different people. You have to find yourself a set of skill that is find what you would like to do. Not what people want you to do, but what do you want to do? It's like when you go back as a kid. First you want to find out what you want to do, what makes you happy. Once you know that, there's a lot of people that will be very negative and say, oh, you can't do this, can't do that. Same thing when you wanted to be an MMA or a champion in MMA. those people, it's either you tell them to F out, or you use that as a motivation to push yourself to get to your goal even more. And then you have to work hard, work hard. And you know, like when you climb to become champion, and when you get champion, if you get to your goal after your career, you want to, I think, to always invest on yourself. You know what I mean? If you want to be, I don't know, a fitness trainer, or you need to invest to invest on yourself, get some knowledge, you know, follow some courses, some classes that will give you more knowledge. Because if you don't do that, the competition will get to you. You know what I mean? If you're a champion in MMA, if you don't improve, the competition will get to you. It's the same thing. And once you reach the top, is, I think, another thing that is important is to give back. Not to be nice. It's a little bit selfish to say it, but I give back only to the people that I care, to the cause that I care. So it motivates me to do more, to give me more. It gives me more motivation to do better in what I do, because I can give to these people. I don't give to everybody. I give to only the people I care and to the cause that I care. I think it's like a reboot, a restart of a career, but in a different branch.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the acting thing there, and you know, obviously, that's a hard business, right? And I never thought I'd talk.
Terrible. It's terrible. I'm sure it's hard to get there. You know, it demands a lot of work. A lot of people, and I know because I've done some a little bit, and man, some people believe they are born a good actor. Man, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like a fighter, you were world champion. It takes you a lot of sacrifice together. If you want to be Denzel Washington or Leonardo DiCaprio, man, it takes a lot of work. You know, you just don't wake up one day and I'm that good now. It doesn't happen like this, you know.
But to your point a moment ago, I was going to say, because you know, I'm still pursuing the acting work because I enjoy it and all the rest of it. But my wife, but as you know, it takes a lot of time away, right? You go away for a long time. Last year I was in Bulgaria for 10 weeks and I've got children just like you have. And my wife was like, why do you do that? You don't need to do that. But it was to your point. I'm like, babe, I need to do something. I need to test myself. I've got to have that competitive urge taken care of. You know what I mean? So trying to become an actor, trying to work in movies, trying to do all these things, which is very hard. That allows me to get my competitiveness out there. You know what I'm saying? It's working towards something and you get it and you're like, fucking let's go. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same thing. I just finished working on a mixed martial art fundamental instructional video. And I know it's a very competitive industry. You know, there's a lot of great coaches out there. You know, like some have way more experience than I do. But what I did to be different, I pay the production myself to have a better quality of production. You know, like, and I was able to get many different camera angles. You know, slow motion with voiceover, to make it more interesting for the audience, because I know that my English may be not as good as, you know, someone who's born, raised in US or UK, for example. So I needed to offer the client something different to get me something different. So that's why I did it that way. I paid myself $15,000, $20,000 to produce my material. And then I made business with BJJ Fanatic, and they really liked it. So it's doing very well.
BJJ Fanatics. So basically, you sign up to BJJ Fanatics and maybe subscribe to a certain section, and they can get access to your content.
Yes, exactly. Because I think they're the best distributor. You know, in terms of distribution, they were great. So I think in fighting, when you're in business, you need to keep your brain stimulate your brain. You need to do something that is outside the box, that is different than your competitor sometimes, to be successful. And sometimes it's a big risk, you know, like I took a risk. I spent $15,000-$20,000 to produce my own material. Maybe it wouldn't be successful, but it's doing very well, and I'm very happy. And
nice.
I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna do some more of this, and I think something that you could do yourself as well, Michael. I think you're a great fighter, and you have a lot of knowledge that could be teach that a lot of people would like to know.
Well, thank you very much. Talk to me about, obviously I commentate. Was that ever on the agenda? Was that ever something you thought about doing?
I did some in French,
Yeah.
but it's just I think that there's because I live in Montreal the traveling it's an issue.
All
It's
right.
far. Also, I feel there's guys that are way better than me, way more qualified than me for that job. You know, like
Okay.
I've seen you're doing very well. I mean, it takes time. You know, like I did some in French, and it takes time to. You could be a good fighter, but doesn't mean you're a
It's
good
hard.
commentator.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
skill. It's something like acting, something like anything else. It takes time to develop.
Especially for me because they used to subtitle me back in the day. I used to be subtitled, now I'm bloody commentating. But you're right, it does. It's definitely a skill. For me, what I love about commentating, obviously, it's a great sport and we love it, and it changed our lives. I know a bit about your background. We've spoken at length before. For me, it still keeps me involved with the sport because people always ask me, and I'm sure you get this question all the time, do you miss it? Do you ever think about making a comeback? And I can honestly say, no, I don't think about coming back. I've been there, I've done it. I became the champ, I made some money, and I've opened doors to other things. But commentating still allows me to be involved with the sport. I know you're completely done, but do people ask you that a lot? Do people say, George, when are you coming back? When are you coming back?
There's a lot of guys that want me to come back because they know I'm still in shape. I think if I really wanted to, I could maybe come back, but my heart is not there anymore. I'm not the same guy that I was when we fought each other. You know, like
Yeah.
when I was competing, it was my number one priority. I wanted to kill everyone. I was at fire.
Well,
I
you
don't have
almost
the
did
same
kill
fire.
me.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to be nice, but deep down inside, you got the same thing inside, you know.
Yeah, I know, I know.
So when you lose that, I think it's hard to get it back, and it's possible that you get it back, but to be successful, I think it's important to have that fire. A lot of guys they stay in the sport too long and they lost that fire,
That's
that
right.
that
That's
thing
right.
that like that animal instinct, that thing that makes you a great fighter, and I think very often it's sad to say, but the fighter itself is the last person to know when it's time to stop. You know.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, I don't expect you to say this, and this might be controversial. I'm not meaning it to be, but there's that old expression. I think it was Marvin Hagler. This waking up in silk sheets. You don't want to go and run in the morning. When you look at someone like Conor McGregor, that's had ridiculous success and was a two-weight division champion. Apparently, he's got now hundreds of millions, maybe close to $1 billion. As you say, when you haven't got that fire, and I'm not necessarily talking about Conor McGregor. I'm not talking shit at all. But when you reach a certain level of success, things do change. You know what I mean? You're not that same guy. You're not absolutely broke. You're
Yeah.
not fighting for the same reasons. I think you're fighting for pride, you know. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think you're right. In order to improve, to stay in the game, to get ready for a fight, you need to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. And when your life is very comfortable, it's very hard to get out of your comfort zone. When it's been comfortable for a very long time, it's hard to get out of your comfort zone. That's why it's hard to become champion, but it's even harder to stay champion. Because when you get comfortable somewhere, it's harder to get outside of your comfort. And you need, in order to maximize, to optimize your preparation for a fight, you need to get outside your comfort zone, because when you're gonna fight, you're not gonna be in your comfort zone. So you need to recreate that environment when you're getting ready for the fight.
Obviously, you were the welterweight champion of the world for a long time. With being champion comes a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah,
Did that towards the end, was that driving you crazy?
for me, the way I saw it was, it's hard to explain, is the fact that I'm obsessive compulsive. I've never been diagnosed with it, but I have the behavior of an obsessive compulsive
Yeah.
disorder guy, which make me which is good when you're in competitive things like combat sport, because I use that to get better. It drives me nuts. I'm obsessive about my goal. I'm thinking about it all the time. I'm breathing it all the time. When I eat, I'm thinking of it all the time. So the best way I can explain it for someone to trying to understand is as soon as I finish a fight, there's another guy who call me out. So I have no break. So there's another guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I'm thinking as soon there's another guy or the fight is announced or there's another guy who is in the horizon that I may fight, something happened in my brain and clack. I'm right away. I'm focused on that.
So your
I can't
mental
take
energy.
away. I cannot take away this image of me getting ready for the best I can to solve that problem.
Yeah, because I think people don't realize, when you're getting ready for a fight, you're training for someone, it's a world title fight, you got to do the press, you got to do all that type of thing. You got to go through the training camp itself, which in many ways is harder than the fight. Then you have the fight, then you finish, and then when you're the champion, straight away, boom. You don't break. You don't get to rest and go away and enjoy and go on vacation. That's interesting. I never thought of that. Straight away, boom, here's the next guy. Here's the next person you're going up against.
Yeah. So when you're a contender, you fight a guy, then it takes a few weeks, a few months before you get another name. You know what I mean? Because things can change, But when you're the champion, there's a guy waiting immediately after. So right away when you win, there's another guy. So you're like, shit. It feels mentally, it feels like you have no break. It feels like, oh God, you're stressed out again. You're constantly on fighter's flight, sort of. It's a survival mode that I don't know. It's something very primal in your brain. It's hard to explain. And the best way I can explain it to people who are not into fighting is I felt with the accumulation, I felt like claustrophobic. I felt like I was like I couldn't breathe and I needed to take a time off. That's why I left for more than 4 years,
Well, you did it. I mean, you're a true legend, and people say you, if not the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time. I know you're not going to say that about yourself because you're a very humble man, but who would you say? And I know it's a hypothetical thing, and probably people are sick of hearing about it. But in your mind, if you were to pick the GOAT, who would that go to? Apart from yourself, because I know you'd never say that. No, I know you're not a dickhead. I would. I'm the GOAT. I'm the fucking GOAT. You wouldn't say that. So other than you, who do you think deserves that? Because John Jones is the guy that everyone talks about. And I know you don't want to talk bad, but then there's the picograms and all that stuff. But for me, John Jones is still in the running. I think he's still doing incredible things. But if you had to pick a name, who would you go with?
For me, I think it's Royce Gracie because he did stuff that I don't think I'll ever see again. Like he was fighting in an era that he didn't have any weight classes. The rules were much different. It was very different. And back then it was a totally different thing. Like you were going into the cage, you thought maybe someone could die, And I remember there was a famous fight with Patrick Smith and Morris, a ninjutsu guy. The guy, Patrick Smith, was on top of his opponent throwing elbow, and you see a flack of blood, and the referee was like this, doing that, like it was bad, like it was literally like someone could die out there. So it took an incredible courage. So for me, Royce Gracie is the number one. And of course, if you put Royce Gracie in modern days against a champion, I don't think he will maybe do so well. So I think the real GOAT, the real GOAT, is not even born yet, because we can talk as much as we want, but I truly believe that the performances tend to get better over time. And it has nothing to do with the persons, because I don't think the athletes are better now than they were before. I don't think it has to do with the person. I think it has to do with knowledge and technology. I think because we have more knowledge and more technology. I remember, Michael, when I first started to train for mixed martial art competition, I wanted to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I needed to go in New York to learn an armbar, a Jujigatami. I need to drive or to be present as a person in the class to learn an armbar. Now I can take my cell phone, go on YouTube, and learn the technique in 2 seconds. It's crazy. So it has. So the guys nowadays are already start with a head start because of it, and it will be the same in the future. It's same thing. So Royce Gracie, Mark Coleman, Don Fry, Dan Severn, all these guys, for me, they were the true warrior, you know, and we tend to forget about these guys, but they all paved the ways for us to have a better life.
100%, George. It's funny what you mentioned there, you know, because I remember, I think it was 2002, something like that, and we were trying to figure out how to escape a triangle. Right. And I remember my coaches and I, we were sitting around and we were like brainstorming and like, try this, do that. I saw this 10 here, or I've heard that this works. And we're trying different things. As you said, all you got to do now is go to YouTube and you can see 20 ways. It's crazy.
Yeah, because we're in touch with the world. So if someone has an idea, is in Japan, we can hear about it, you know, and it's a technology that we didn't have back then. So when I was young, I didn't have that technology, that privilege to learn, and it makes the learning curves much faster. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So and also, like, I think even the same thing in science. I think it's Einstein has said it best. He said if I've seen further, it's because I'm standing on shoulders of giants. It's same thing in sport. Same thing in basketball, in hockey, baseball, and everything. Football, same thing.
Well, the level always increases. I mean, as human beings learn more about it, as the training techniques get better, as the resources get better, better coaches, better athletes, all the rest of it. MMA.
Yeah, but I am not sure. Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
I don't think we get better as human beings. I think we get better because of the technology. I think our ego make us think that we're better than our predecessors. But I think if you would take, for example, the champion of pancration in ancient Greek and make him compete against our champion of modern day, maybe they would win. And I'm going to tell you why, Michael, because they did it for more than 800 years. And after that, the sport was dead. We didn't hear about it until quite recently, and we've been doing MMA for like 30 years. It's been like maybe 30 years. Imagine how much it would evolve in 800 years. It used to be the most popular sport. It was the #1 sport. They used to stop war during the Olympic Games to make their best athlete compete. So sometimes I'm really curious. Of course, the rules were different. They used to fight naked and everything. But I'm really curious if they would have better fighters than us. And I think if I have to be objective about that, if someone asks me the question, I think the answer is yes.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, human beings are always getting bigger, faster, stronger. That's why records always get beaten, right? The 100-meter dash, it's always getting broken every year. So maybe today's athletes would be better. But as you say, 800 years of evolution. Evolution. I mean, right now, I mean, it's only a few years ago, calf kicks started getting used as a thing, and you see the games changing all the time. So 800 years of that, and they were doing it at a much, they didn't have referees, they didn't have judges, they didn't have people going no downward elbows. You know what I mean? The consequences were much higher. So,
if you wanted to give up, you had to point the sky. That's how you give up. And the rules were much different. And one thing I remember I saw, they were making, Jesse Owen, the sprinter, when he sprint in Berlin before the Second World War. He had the world record of the time. He was sprinting in a different surface, no starting block, you know, the shoes, the equipment
Sure,
were
yeah,
much
no
different.
spiky shoes or no
Yes,
technology in the shoes.
and I saw a documentary on the plane the other day. They made André Degrasse, who's I think he finished bronze medal, the not the last Olympic game or the other one before, and they made him sprint in the same condition that Jesse Owen had sprinted
Okay.
before, and Jesse Owen won the race. Jesse Owen did win the race. However, Jesse Owen, when he made the world record at the time, he was in his peak. André Degrasse was not in his peak, you know, because in sprinting you have to peak. It's like a fight, you know. When you get close to competition, you're in shape. So maybe that has a lot to do with the result. But it's just to say that proves that technology has a lot to do with. I don't think will be any shit talk. It's not. It's not like mixed martial art. It's different.
Yeah,
I think it's a different sport. I mean, I can't speak for him. And it's not sure. It's not. You know, it's not sure. It's Nick Diaz. I don't know. I mean, that's the name they gave me. And we're gonna see. They said that he was interesting. I don't know. We'll see what's gonna happen.
Bro, if Nick Diaz doesn't want to do it, I'll grapple you, George. I owe you one.
A lot of guys want to grapple me. I saw some tweet and some Instagram post, like everybody, you know, it all has to do with money. Everybody wants to be it's like Conor McGregor, for example. Everybody want to fight Conor McGregor. It's the money fights, you know. That's what people care about, you know. It's the freaking money.
Hey, well, money comes in handy. Right, so let's go through here. I'm looking at Twitter right now, and I'm going to see if there's any good questions. How did it feel to destroy Bisping? Yeah, ignore that one, thank you. What advice would you give to an up-and-coming fighter?
An advice I would say, well, first, you might not like my answer, but I've seen a lot of parents coming with their kids, and they're always telling me, "Hey, George, this is the future world champion." And I go on my knees and I talk to the kids. I ask them, I say, "Hey, how are you doing at school?" And everybody's surprised. And I tell him, I say, you know what's the most important thing for you right now? It's to be educated. Educate yourself, you know. Do sport, you know, like make sure you do it. If you like it, it's a good self-defense. But don't put all your eggs in the same basket, because if you get hurt, or if, let's say, you get hit by a car, everything goes away. And if you only focus on fighting, and then by the age of 30, you realize that you just can't make it. If you have no background in school, you have nothing that you can fall back into.
Yeah.
So I tell you, it's the odds are against you. If you plan on being Michael Bisping or George St. Pierre, the odds are against you. You can't make it. Take that idea outside of your head. But yeah, stay at school, educate yourself, keep training hard, and down the line, if you see that an opportunity comes and you make it, but you'll have an education as an assurance if something goes bad. You know, you have a second option if something doesn't go your first choice. You know, so that's what I say to the kid. My first advice would say, stay at school and educate yourself first, and then once you got that covered, now go for it.
Yeah, no, and that's smart advice, because I speak to a lot of young men that are struggling, you know what I mean, and they're lost in life and they don't know what to do and they've got no direction. And some of them say they want to fight and all the rest of it. But I think what you just said there is kind of advice for anyone, you know, not even just a fighter, you know. But what would you say to any young men out there that kind of feel lost, that have no direction, that they don't know what to do with themselves? I mean, have you got any advice you could give them?
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do. That's you know, except being a fighter. You know, at one point even I tried to become a fireman. You know what I mean? I've tried everything. You know, I had different diplomas in different things. You know, like I can install ceramic on the floor. You know, when people don't know, I graduated in that too. I wanted to be a fireman, but they wrote me a letter saying, we can take you in the school, in the fireman school, but you don't. There are certain criteria that you don't you don't that are require an add something in my back like a vertebrae that is offline. So therefore I wouldn't be the first pick if they have the choice of choosing me and then someone else. They advised me to not of this. So I was like thinking, I was like, oh, I can be an MMA fighter but not a fireman. Then that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But what I say is it is normal when you're young and you don't know what to do. It is normal because when you're 20 years old, you're not the same person that when you were 15. And when you're 25, you're not the same that when you were 20 and 30, same thing. I think that when you're about 30, it starts to stabilize a little bit. There's less changes. You know, it's all different. Every individuals are different, but that's what I feel. So give yourself some time. But in the meantime,
Zach was always he was like the wrestling coach. He's a good runner. He's a smaller dude. He probably fights at 55.
Yeah.
And we had to run. It was slightly uphill and Big Bear that thin altitude. And I was running. I'm okay at running. Zach come past me, and then Bisbee comes past me, grunting. I'm looking at him like, God damn. And he don't have like good perfect form, but
I'm a terrible athlete. I was never good at any sports ever, but I'm super competitive at everything. I'm like, fucking, I'm gonna beat Zach. And I don't know why. Just every day it was me and Zach. We never talked about it. We never said who's gonna win today or anything. It was like a weird silent competition. We'd be side by side, just not even mentioning it. And then
nobody beats Zach running.
Did you give him his own room in the house?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, he had his own.
did.
Yeah,
we heard about some stories. Were you ever a part of any camps with Chet Congo in Big Bear?
Yeah, Chet Congo was there.
I was talking about the pranks and stuff.
I was in a different house. Thank God.
Thank God.
You heard about this? Huh?
No, I haven't. No.
No, most of those pranks was in England, and we were staying at our former manager's house. He didn't stay there. He lived in England. Most of those pranks.
Oh, sorry, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But he got
I never stayed there.
Those pranks, they wasn't in Big Bear. Cause that's when we first started meeting Congo. He didn't even speak English that much back then.
Wow. Did you guys spar a lot in the gym though when you guys were first coming up together?
Of course. Yeah.
Because I've heard some interesting stories about you in the gym, how you don't like anybody to get anything on you. So if you're sparring, you're taking it to the moon. Coach Perillo was telling us that you're like one of the hardest working guys he's ever seen in the gym. Just a straight grinder 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting ready for a fight, it's my job. So it actually used to piss me off. Like back in England, I'd go there, I'd drive an hour and a half to the gym where we used to train, and people are fucking around. You know what I mean? So I've driven all this way. I want to work. I want to train. I want to get ready for this fight. I want to win. You know, you got to be in good shape. So, but yeah, no, it was never anything like personal with anybody. It's like I'm here to fucking work.
I never saw him have problems. I don't. My memory's not as good, but I never.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't remember him having problems with anybody in the gym, stuff like that. I just remember the trainers and stuff. You used to have to tell them, okay, chill out. You're doing too much.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always overtrain, but
is overtraining a real thing?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. And I mean, I don't need to tell these guys. Yeah. These both know, but overtraining whilst you're cutting weight, so like you're not getting any calories in your body whatsoever, so you're just losing muscle mass. So I used to start a training camp, and the feeling, Rampage. Start a training camp, big, strong, Luke. You feel good, you're throwing people around, and by the end, I'm a skinny little sucked out thing, and I'm getting bullied around the ring. So if I could do it all over again, I'd do it very, very differently. But
really, what would you do differently?
Well, I wouldn't overtrain.
Oh.
I'd work with a nutritionist. I wouldn't be partying every fucking weekend when I wasn't fighting either.
Why were you overtraining and training so hard and stuff like that back then, though?
I think because I had a kickboxing fight, because I used to be a kickboxer, and I hadn't been at the gym in about 2 years. And because I started hanging out with this new group of friends and partying, I was trying to be a DJ back then. And the guy that was the promoter called me up out of the blue, and he's like, "Are you in shape?" I said, yeah. He said, "Well, we got a British title fight. Someone dropped out. Do you want to step in?" And it was like a week's notice. And all my kickboxing fights, to be honest, it wasn't at a very high level, and I just smoked everyone. I said, "Yeah, sure." So my new girlfriend, who's now my wife, she came like 30, 40 guys from my hometown. I'm not going to whoop this guy's ass. Come on, acting like the big shot. Went out there. It was an 8-round fight. The first 4 rounds, I tried to kill him. I didn't. And then I completely gassed. And for 4 rounds, he beat the shit out of me. I managed to win a decision somehow, but it was 4 rounds where I could hardly keep my hands up. I was absolutely exhausted. You guys know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst feeling in the world. You can't hide behind a team. It's just you and your opponent and a referee. And if you're out of breath, if you're tired, it's the loneliest place on the planet. So I think ever since then, I never wanted to feel like that ever again. So I always trained hard.
That was always my biggest fear, going in there gas. Now, I see a lot of fans trying to, classify me as a fighter that runs out of gas, but I barely run out of gas in my fights. I don't remember a lot of...
No, you never run out of gas.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. I don't know
which is weird because you hated training.
Yeah, I hated
what
I
did
did
it.
it.
What do you mean?
Yeah. He
hated training.
Hated training, hated running, hated everything.
I mean, we all hated it at some point,
I used to love it.
Yeah, I mean, you love it, and then...
I started off...
There's a certain point where you hate it. When you overtrain, and you get to that point where you just... It's like...
Wait, did you love it up until like you got the belt and then you started to hate it, or did you always love it?
I loved it. I love training. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, at what point?
I still do today.
Yeah, you look in great shape.
Best part of my day is going to the gym.
You're still training today actively.
Yeah.
Striking,
MMA
sparring.
and everything?
No. I mean, I had 3 neck surgeries in the last 2 months. So I've just, I was in the gym this morning lifting weights and whatnot, Still like to run most days, So I don't know. I enjoy it. It's the best part of my day.
Have you gotten stem cells yet?
I did about 2 weeks ago. So I'm still waiting for them to kick in.
Yeah.
But then I'm going down to Colombia in January.
A bioaccelerator?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best place to
No,
go.
I know. I'm excited for it, because...
Hey, you been drinking on the side?
Yeah, I'm a man.
Yeah.
No, I know, but
Yeah, you want to stop.
The stem cells.
Yeah, no,
stem cells are like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've had a lot of variations of stem cells, and I've seen them work at times, and then I've seen, you drink too much and you go out and have some fun. It's like the stem cells get diverted to the inflammation. So
no, that's what they said. They said don't drink.
And cheese.
They just said don't drink for the first 3 days.
Don't drink. No, don't drink for a while.
They said they said to me 3 days.
That's it.
Burn out the stem cells.
No,
That's it. 3 days.
They said 3 days.
I
But I don't drink. I don't wake up hungover.
Right.
I don't go out. I never go out.
What is your drink of choice?
I'll have a vodka tonic with lime. I'll have like 2 of those in the evening just to relax.
I would have never looked at you as a vodka tonic.
I never get drunk. I don't go out and get shit-faced.
We've gotten shit-faced before.
Oh, fucking right. I've gotten shit-faced many a time, but these days I don't do that. I'll have a couple of drinks, but there ain't no inflammation in the morning.
No, but those guys told me about drinking, and I asked the owner. I said, "Hey, on the scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to not drink?"
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, like a 3."
Okay.
Wait, what?
Well, let's
What
go.
is going on right now? How are you going to give nutrition
but then
how
he
are you
went on.
giving advice on bioaccelerator?
But then he said he followed with, "I'm not one of the doctors." He
Oh,
followed up
okay.
and
Well,
said-
then who are you asking? The guy that
the
was getting you the
owner,
girls?
The barman at the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, who are you asking?
I asked the head honcho,
Wait,
Eric.
you guys used to go out and party together?
Yeah, we partied before
Yeah.
after fights and stuff like that.
Where would you guys go party?
I don't.
Oh, I have no idea. There's that one picture online that's super embarrassing of me. It's me and you. I think it's after the Henderson fight, UFC 100. You can find it online. We've both got our shirts off. We've got our shirts off. I've got your chains on. I'm like sucking the cheeks in and stuff. Oh God, that gets brought up now and again and sent my way. It's a funny picture though.
I gotta find that. I mean, there's a lot of history in this room, and we don't want to get into it right away. But I do want to know, because we have Jason Perillo here. He's one of our head coaches here at Jackson and Sonic Studio, Jackson Podcast. We're helping build out this gym for him. At what point in your career did you get linked up with Jason Perillo?
Yeah, so I moved out here because we were on the same team. They turned out to be an absolute bunch of utter scumbags, thieving, robbing, stealing.
You tried to warn me too. He
did.
tried to fucking warn me. If I would listen to him,
I did.
Can we leave this in the podcast?
Are we talking about like management?
you can
Management? Are we talking about management and coaching? Like,
Management, coaching, everything.
So
Really?
it was the managers. It was the managers though.
Yeah, no, it was the managers. It wasn't the coaches. The coaches. Were
They worked for them. They controlled it. They was like the worst control freaks.
Yeah.
Well, Luke,
You might
Luke's
get
been
jabbed a
calling him
couple
out.
of times.
Yeah, and Bisbing, Luke's been calling out Sean Strickland. How do you
really?
think Luke would do against him in the gym?
Sean's tricky, man. He's very
He's
good.
tricky. He's tricky. I sparred him one time hungover. It wasn't.
No.
I sparred Bisbee hungover too one time.
He did.
Y'all sparred and fought.
Yeah.
Hey,
Y'all sparred before y'all fought.
That was Perillo's
I came in. I was traveling down here, and like I remember.
Oh, here we go with the excuses.
And they're like, I want to get some work
I
in.
was drunk. I was hungover. I had nothing to eat. I've been fucking all night. What else you got?
I
was
was.
like, motherfucker.
What else
You
you
don't
got?
come to sparring then.
Hey, I thought we were sparring with big gloves on, and then the business everyone's like, oh, we're doing fucking 4-ounce gloves. This motherfucker puts me in the cage for 3 rounds with 4-ounce gloves on. I'm like, oh,
MMA?
shit just got real. I was like, God damn.
No.
I thought I was coming in with like 16-ounce sparring, like regular session. It was on.
And that's before you guys ever fought.
First time we ever met.
Well, see, and this is what, because it was kind of a big thing for me to say. I was on some kind of show, and Luke was the Strikeforce champion at the time, and we'd sparred, and somehow this reporter knew about it, said, how did the sparring go? And I'm a smart mouth, so I'm like, well, shouldn't really talk about sparring, but let's just say I'm the unofficial Strikeforce champion.
Hey, that's a
Because
secret.
it's a funny line.
Yeah, it is.
Funny, and
It's a great line.
he got so worked up over it, and anyway.
Yeah, I gotta get worked up.
That's why I like Bisbee. He's entertaining outside the cage and stuff. So I don't know.
Oh, in the cage too. And then the next time
That's what I
we fought. Like I was so pissed off about it. I was like, I'm gonna knock you out in the first round. You want to put $100,000 on it? I tried to get him to make $100,000 bet. He looks at me and he's like, first round on. In the middle of the cage, I was like, I'm walking back to my corner. I'm like, this motherfucker.
Right after the first round.
Right after the first round, and I was like,
no, he's very competitive.
all right,
That's no lie. He's very competitive.
These guys are the most competitive people. I don't know Bisping personally like that, but this guy's the most competitive person I've ever met in my life. Doesn't matter where we go, what we do.
It makes sense. I remember at the fair, he was all happy when he was beating me at all the fair games. But as soon as I won one thing with the fucking squirt guns, he left.
He left.
It makes sense.
Bisping, he started crying. He beat us at every game. He beat us at every game at the fair. Rampage beats him on
I thought Rampage would get me on the sledgehammer for sure. But
is this what you were referring to, Bisping? You guys at the gym?
Oh this was Ruka.
This is after the fact.
This was Ruka.
So what was this video?
This was in cordial times.
Yeah. This was after we'd fought a couple of times, and I went in one day. He was in the gym, and we just had a little.
Yeah.
Oh really?
You know, just for old time's sake, have a little move around. Look at me, out of shape.
Luke, why are you wearing sneakers while you doing jiu-jitsu?
Because Luke likes to do that. He likes the advantage.
It's actually a disadvantage.
It is a disadvantage.
How's it a disadvantage?
So you get ankle locked. What's wrong with you, man? It's
No,
grimace.
not on the mat.
Grimace.
Not
They
on the
doing
mat.
jiu-jitsu.
Look at Bisping took it. You tried to go for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I did. I almost got a fucking toe hold.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
I think
That
I
was being
did.
pretty nice.
So,
Have you ever submitted me in training?
Oh God, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I honestly can't remember every time we rolled, but things like that, you know, I was like, I tapped out Rampage today. I'd remember that. Do you know what I mean? And I'd say, I don't know. I think I did.
You probably did.
I probably did. I think I got you in an armbar a couple of times.
You probably did.
I got a
Probably.
pretty
I
you
don't
can
know.
tell us. You
And
can tell
Vincent,
us.
was that the only person
don't
to
know.
submit you in your career?
No, a welterweight did as well. So don't get all hard about it.
Oh,
Wait, Bisping, I gotta ask you straight up. Whose idea was it to have you guys always training together?
always. What are you
I mean,
talking
there's
about?
so many
This-
videos of you guys training together.
No. This was just after.
This is
That was just
Yeah,
after you guys were done fighting.
I'd retired now.
Got it.
This is our first.
So Luke needed a real coach. So he took my leftovers. And then
Wait, we gotta reverse
blame
that.
this guy.
Wait,
Blame this guy.
we gotta reverse
You
that.
know, hey,
Wait,
you
what
know
are you talking about? Leftovers. We gotta reverse that. What are you talking about?
Grimace, don't start it.
Hold on, I just want to know what he means. I don't know what that means.
No. I'd retired. I'm joking. I'm just
Yeah,
being a
but
dick.
then who got the leftovers of what?
I was training with Jason here and there when I was.
He
in
was
town.
actually training with Jason before me.
Oh, okay.
And then I started training with Jason,
Jason, yeah.
and then it's just the way it works. You work with different coaches. I retired by then. Luke was working with him. I went down into the gym. We said hi, just for a bit of fun. Had a little roll.
You know what? I'd hate to fight Bisping these days because you get in a stare down and you really wouldn't know what the fuck he's thinking.
Hey, don't start that. Me and Bisbee, we still brothers, man. Don't start that.
I don't need your help. I've knocked him out once before. I can do it again.
Hold on.
Hey, same
Hold
here.
on. Hold on. Before we even talk about that, let's just settle down over here, dude. You're getting a little
He's
crazy.
getting a little antsy. You should have felt the way he
Because
grabbed
he
me.
still
there.
trains every day. 7 days a week, this guy
Bro,
trains.
relax.
Are you guys friends now? Is all is good?
Are you guys
We're
cool?
fine.
Well, are you guys 1-1?
We're 1-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's all
So,
good.
we're talking about. Let's just talk about it. Screw it. So, you had a fight. You stepped in last minute,
I did.
and when you step in last minute, did you even have any sort of idea what was going to happen?
What do you mean?
Did you think you were going to win that fight, or were
Yeah,
you just
of
stepping
course.
in for the payday?
No, 100%. I stepped in to win the fight. Of course.
Because I don't think he was nervous at all. It seems like Luke was he was untouchable.
Well, he should have been. Because he got knocked the fuck out.
Hey, yeah, I was disrespectful to Bisping. I fucking smoked his ass the first time.
All right. So you want to hear the story? Seeing as you bring
And
this
so-
up. You bring this
Let's
up.
hear the story.
Look at this.
Let's hear the
Look,
story.
look,
One at a
look,
time.
right?
Oh!
I got one. Right? I got one. I beat. Bro, I knocked you out with one fucking eye before we even start.
Hey, how did it happen? When did that happen?
Vito Belfort juiced out of his mind, kicked me in the head, detached a retina, then it redetached, then I got glaucoma, just one thing after the other.
I hate to say it, but I kicked you in the head too before all that. I mean,
I was already blind. I was already blind in one eye.
What? Before our fight? The first fight?
Before that. So that's what I was going to say. For that first fight, Luke, remember, because when we squared up in Sydney, because Jay Silver, do you know Jay Silver?
Yeah, I remember.
Of course, you
Yeah,
know Jay.
fuck yeah.
Fucking Jay. Fucking
Yeah.
Jay.
Fucking
Love
Jay
Jay. He's
I
awesome.
don't love Jay, but
Oh, really? Well, I had him down. I had him in a Kimura from side control, and rather than tap, boom, he knees me in the fucking head. As a day before I'm about to fly out to Australia, opens a big, huge cut right over my eye, right? So we're in Sydney and we square up. He's like, oh, look at that cut, look at that cut.
Who said that?
Luke, he knows he did, right? So we're in the fight.
Sounds like you.
We're in the fight, and
I did not.
he fucking headbutts me, right? The cut opens up.
Wait, who's making excuses
blood's
here?
pouring into my eye, the only eye that I have, right? And when you watch it, I'm wiping my eye every few seconds because I can't see shit. And then, at some point, you kick me in the fucking head. Good for you. And then I came back without the cut and knocked you the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? I took you out.
Hey.
Yeah,
I came up, bitch slapped him here, knocked him out here, woke him back up, and choked him out. I was like, hey, talk about it.
Is it true though? Is it true that you told everybody before the fight that you were gonna win by a head kick?
I just said I was gonna. I claimed I was gonna knock him out in the first round. That's why after the first round.
Yeah, so there was a lot
he
of
was
talk
like,
about that. So that's what it was.
But
You
I
were
got him
claiming
this
you were gonna win in the first round.
I want to know, how do you pass the eye exam?
I didn't. I did, but it was. I can't go into that.
No,
But
okay.
it was. I just lied my ass off in every test. But like I even had like a little stupid code, like me and Perillo. You know, we would say because I would pass tests somehow, but then even on site at the commission at the day of the weigh-ins, they want to check your vision. You know, and I was always terrified that they were going to say right because I didn't have this then. You know, this is only like a few years ago.
Did that hurt to pull that out?
Nah. So I didn't have this, but my eye looked terrible. It looks even worse now. It looked a little bit better back then, but you could clearly see when you looked at the eye that it wasn't healthy. And the doctors, I would think, all they got to do is cover that eye and say, how many fingers? And then I'm fucked. So every training camp, the fight was the easy part because I was always terrified. I'm spending all this money on a training camp. I'm putting all this effort into it. I'm going to fly off to wherever it is. And then day before the fight, I'm going to get pulled from the fight. So the stress was so, it was major. And then when I would get past the weigh-ins, I was like, oh my God, relief. Now I know I can fight. Now I'm good. Now I'm happy. Now all I've got to do is actually go out and fight. I don't really give a fuck about the fight.
There got to be a tremendous amount of stress.
The stress was insane. Yeah. Insane. So anyway, me and Perillo had a thing. I said, right, well, if he covers up the eye, go for one finger, for two or whatever. We did that a couple of times. And to be honest, they never even did it. They just went, can you see out of that eye? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, okay. I'm like, yeah. 2020 here, brother.
Wait, so you had code words with Jason Perillo, your head coach?
Yeah, we did it a couple of times. And then we just gave up because...
Incredible, dude.
Yeah.
That's smart, man.
Incredible. What a dog. This is why the MMA community loves you, though. This is why everybody has so much respect for you, because this guy could potentially have lost both eyes to do what he loves, because ain't nobody doing that for money at that point. He did it because he loves fighting.
I don't know. I was doing it for money. That's the only reason I was doing it.
Even to make the money.
Well.
Yeah, you did it because you still were down to fight, though. You put on a show for the fans. It's incredible.
I would have to retire. If I lost one of my eyes, I'd be like, fuck it. I probably wouldn't.
Well, that's why I retired, because I almost lost my second one.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was after a fight. I was in China, Shanghai. And then we went to the after party, and I know the symptoms of a detached retina.
Yeah, what is that? What is that like? Like how?
It started off. I'd be in like restaurants are dark. I'd be in a restaurant, and I'd be like, I couldn't see my hand there, and Damien, a buddy of ours, would be like, oh look, he's doing that thing again with his fingers, you know. And then eventually, it got to the point where I was here. So then I Googled it, and then I called up a doctor. I said, I think I've got a detached retina. They said, why do you say that? I said, well, because when I wiggle my fingers in front of my face, I can't see them. They went, yeah, you might want to come in right now. So then I went in, they went, yeah, you got a detached retina. So we've got to operate on it straight away.
Why wiggle? Why not like?
Well, I don't know. I was just like, can you see that? Can you see that? You know. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so we're in China, and then we're in this fucking big, huge nightclub. There's like a big shark in a fish tank, and I look to the left, and I look back, and I get like a flash of light in my eye. And I look left again, I look right, and it just kept doing it. I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe this. Because the doctor always said to me, this one doctor, I lied on the test. I memorized the eye chart, you know what I mean? He went out the room. It was like an old school thing that he could spin round. It was like a triangle. A, C, D, B, F, you know, the letters. All you had to do to pass was the top letter and the two letters below it. So that's 2200 vision, which is still classed as legally blind. But as long as you could get those 3 letters, you could pass the test. So he went out the room. So I was like, okay, C, D, E, turned it round, remembered them all. The guy came in, covers up my bad eye first, asked me C, D, E, whatever they were. And then he doesn't move it and then covers up my good eye. And he's like, read out what you can see. So I'm like, C, D, E. Ooh, it's getting a bit hard now. Anyway, so then he says, right, you've passed. He said, but I wouldn't fight, Michael, because if anything happens to your good eye, you're going to be blind. I'm like, yeah, it's a good point, Doc. I'll think about it. I'll really consider it. Anyway, I walked out. I'm like, fucking let's go. Because it meant I was back. So anyway, I'm in China, and then my eye starts giving it all this shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe it. He warned me, and I was so pig-headed and arrogant. I'll be fine, because I always thought lightning ain't going to strike twice. How many fighters lose an eye? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, never.
It ain't going to happen twice, you know? So anyway, I was in China, and I had all these problems, and turned out it was okay in the end, but that was it.
What's your vision now? What you got? The good eye.
Enough to see your ugly face.
Oh my God. I remember after my fight with Karate Combat, you sounded like you were ready to go again. I was like, hey, you can't be that. I was like, oh, really? I was, I was talking to Jason.
You put
I was like,
out there, Luke, that it was me, Shogun, Anderson, and Mitt.
No, you said something. You said something.
Yeah, he said that. What the fuck? I've heard of this.
You said something on your podcast like, I'd fucking do it. And that went viral enough for me. And I was like, all right, Bisbing, Machida.
Yeah. That would have been good.
Well, you said something real fast, and you went right over it. You said that it was from Vitor.
Yeah.
And I know that's a known thing, but is it really because Vitor, or was it already damaged going into the fight?
No, it wasn't, because you get your eyes tested. So yeah, no, he kicked me in the head. He was juiced out to the max. I mean, you could take one look at the guy.
Kicked me in the head too.
Yeah, no, it was at that same time. It was me,
him, Henderson,
Rich Franklin,
AJ,
Dan Henderson, AJ,
Anthony Johnson. I think Anthony Johnson was the starter.
He went on this crazy run.
Anthony Johnson.
All the fights were in Brazil. He was like bloody King Kong. He looked.
They didn't test in Brazil.
I don't know, but I didn't care.
Could have been.
You know how it is, right?
Yeah, you care when you get down there and you start facing. You start feeling like this fucking energy of this guy is just juiced out of his gills. You're like, these motherfuckers make me come down here and fight him like this. And
yeah,
you cannot feel good about that.
I did it because we were on the scale, and I should have known looking back, because I don't have like the best physique and never have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Mr. Fucking Model. You know, I don't look like a bodybuilder. Vito walks over looking like fucking Mr. Universe. You know what I mean? And unlike you, I'm not a little bitch. So I didn't care. I just said, he came in my face. I said, Vitor, come here. I'm joking, Lee. Don't set me up like that, though, buddy. He comes over. He says, come here. He says, what? I says, Jesus isn't real. You know, it's just to fuck with
you.
It.
I remember that.
Yeah.
No, you did. I remember that.
Of course.
Oh no, you can't say stuff like that before
You
fight.
can't say that to Vitor.
No, not to Vitor.
Well, of course, that's the perfect person to say it to.
To Vitor.
Vitor.
You can't say that to Vitor.
What did he say? What did he say when you said that to him?
I don't think he understood me.
No, he speaks English.
No, he understood that.
Yeah.
But maybe he was just a good diet and nutrition, and the guy was drinking.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Good diet, nutrition, creatine.
Maybe.
Ice bath.
What? I'm just saying, why we don't got to bag on Vitor. He's a legend, too. Right? Maybe it was good diet.
He just keeping it real, right?
Yeah.
The guy lost an eye, man. Have some compassion.
It's all right. Listen.
He never got a real championship, though.
I don't really have. I have no ill will towards Vitor. I wish him all the best.
You ever see him at fights?
Anyone that no, never. Anyone that I stepped in there with, it's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I wish him the best. Listen. You know, we all knew what we were doing. We're all fighting. We're grown men. We know what we signed up to.
Yeah.
There's no ill will. I'm happy.
I want to change the pace. I want to ask you about commentating, man. You won the best.
Well, thank you very much.
Did you have to go to school for that or some shit?
No. But I started off. You know, when the UFC signed with Fox in 2012, they started having some of the fighters doing the pre-fight show and the post-fight show, and I would sit at home. home and see like the other fighters doing it and talk so much shit. But like, oh, these guys are terrible. I don't know why they don't have me.
Honestly, some of my favorite times watching him and Dominic Cruz just bicker on the side.